Ake Festival hosted the Global Association of Literary Festivals last year. So we had 28 festival directors in attendance, 24 present, and then we had a few conversations where some of them joined us virtually. And from all the conversations, one thing that we learned from one another was the importance and the significance of visiting one another's festivals. It's such an enriching experience. And believe it or not, I have attended festivals organized by quite a number of these women. So I've been to Berlin, I've been to Norway, I was there in February, I think. I co-curated Willemijn's Read My World Festival in Amsterdam, and I've also been to Las Palmas de Gran Canaria in Spain. And I had wonderful experiences in all of them. And so knowing that it was kind of on the cards to have, to invite people to come to Ake, we established the Festival Directors Fellowship, which is open to festival directors who want to visit us here. And then we work together to make that happen. So that's basically how they got here, except for Kholod, who decided, she just paid for everything on her own. She was like, I'm coming to Ake, and then she made it, and we're so delighted. So my job here today is very simple. I've called this conversation Africa Connect, partly because I couldn't think of anything to call it, but because I knew that the goal was to connect the festival directors with African writers, artists, filmmakers, thinkers, with the hope that at some point when they are curating their festivals, they will remember some of the fantastic conversations and speakers that we have had here. But there is also one other thing that I have in mind, which is it's so easy to fall into that trap of believing that substance is kind of hard to come by on the African continent, especially if you're listening to the news and you're thinking it looks like everybody who can has left, you know, and that there's not much going on here. But living here for all these years, I know what is going on here, and I know how incredibly brilliant a lot of the people that I come in contact with are. So it's always, you know, a way for me to show off our finest and our best, and I think I've done a good job of that. Do you think?
More than.
Yeah, you've seen them. So I just want to ask you all to tell me a little bit about your experience, what you've encountered here, and then the second question, and you can answer both questions together, is to think about, have any ideas dropped into your minds as to how we can collaborate and how maybe some of the conversations that have happened here can be replicated in your spaces. I would just like to know what your impression of Ake Festival is. I don't want this to be about me, please. I would really like this to be about your experience and the people that you have encountered. So shall we start with, we'll start with, Estefania, are you ready? Because you were feeling very nervous. After that explosive panel discussion, suddenly everybody started coming to me and saying, please, what questions are you going to ask? Very understandably. They don't know that's how we shout here, you know, and it's all over. We're back, we're good friends. So I'll start with Estefania.
Okay, sorry for my Spanglish, but it's an honor to be here, Lola. It's an honor to take part of this big event. It's so great to share with these writers, intellectuals from Africa, for different countries in Africa. For us, our work in to build bridge between Spanish society and African society is fundamental, obviously, to take part of this event, to learn. We are learning so much. And now when we organize new activities in our city and in our countries, we record this event. Everything is perfect. Thank you so much.
We are coming from the same place, but as Estefania said, for us, first it's a dream come true, because we've been following the festival for many years and wanting to be here, and wanting to meet you, to read your book in Spanish, if possible, and read more books from African authors, from Nigerian authors, but from the people here in Spanish, possible. So for us, it's a possibility of doing things, because we don't only do things related to literature. And in fact, it's just one side of the things we do, and we don't have a big budget. But it's a way of getting in contact with the pulse, with the feeling of the debates here, to know where we can work towards, to know what we can translate, to know who can we call when we have a debate on artificial intelligence, or gender, or anything. And gender, of course. And to, as Estefania said, to learn a lot and to get to know more people and get together and closer. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Angeles. Willemijn?
Yeah. So I prepared something, but I will keep it short. So I have to think about these 4 P's. 4 P's. Normally it's like public, program, PR, etc. In this case, in Ake, I would say the 4 P's would be like people, pleasure, passion, and perseverance. And I think also these 4 P's in that sense were like a red thread through the whole festival, because it is about passion, it is about perseverance, whether you talk about the publishing industry and the setting up or developing the ecosystem that is so necessary, or whether you are having a talk, whether you're talking about perseverance in terms of creating a festival like this, because it's quite a thing. I mean, being a festival directors, like we all are, we know that it's not an easy job to do, and you need the passion. The people, it's not only, well, you, the audience, or the writers, but it's also the dream team that you have behind you. I mean, they're just so amazing. And I really want to have a shout out to the team, because they're really amazing. Part of the pleasure is also the food, the dance. So chef, thank you, thank you. And, well, and the dance, and the pleasure is of course also in new encounters on stage and off stage. I've learned extremely, I learned so much. And I will be able to talk about it later on, but I really learned a lot. And I know I'm not allowed to speak about you, Lola, but still, it is necessary. I mean, let's not then talk about you, but let's talk about what's necessary to get this, not only this festival, but also to gather all these people here, to create the community that you created, not only here, but worldwide in the meantime. And I think that's extremely important, and this is not a bubble. This is not a bubble, temporarily bubble. This is a call for action. I mean, we're living in horrible times. And what you're doing is 2 things that I find extremely important. You are creating the comfort of a bubble. I mean, this is a safe space. It's everybody is amazing. At the same time, you give way for, I mean, shout out to Miss Wana Wana, the opening poem. Luckily, we get to see her tonight as well. I mean, you move people, the people you invite move people, and at the same time, it's a very concrete call for action. So thank you. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Willemijn and Teresa.
I thought I would start on about my first experience, because when I first got the job as a festival director 6 years ago, there was one festival that I wanted to visit, that I had read about and that I was impressed with, and that was this festival. So I came to Ake in 2018 on my own and without really having any contacts or knowing anybody. Well, I knew one person a little bit. That was Musaru Wiwa, who was one of the authors here that I have hosted in Bergen before. But she left the same night because of a family situation. So it was really an eye-opener to me. It was the only time I had experience being in a minority in a literary setting. And I did really feel white. I felt how much I stood out, and I think it made me probably also a bit, if not defensive, a bit scared. I was very, very insecure, and I didn't dare approach people, and people didn't approach me. So it was, but that's on that personal level, and I thought I would say so, because I think that many authors from Nigeria might have had similar experiences in European or Western festivals where they are a minority, and it's very educative to not only know about this in theory, but actually having felt like that. But the festival itself was wonderful 5 years ago. It was great. There were new topics. I loved how it was also, I think we share some of the vision of not only talking about inside what is happening in a novel, but also lifting it up a level, looking at political and societal issues. And I was very fascinated and very impressed 5 years ago. And I am now as well. And this time coming, I knew more of what I was going to, and I felt very welcome, and I've met so many nice people, and I think it's been easier for me to speak to people, or I know it has been, and I've met so many great people, authors, listened to great conversations, and also meeting all of these directors that I've never met before, which has also created a bond because we're here together. It's a different experience from meeting at the European Festival. And we're all excited and enthusiastic. There was one other point, but I've forgotten, but that's my main thing, yes. Thank you.
Lavinia?
Well, first, also my greatest gratitude for being here, for being part of this wonderful festival. I had so many, how shall I say, moving conversations which really helped me to understand deeply much more things. But there are a couple of things which are astonishing about the festival, and this I want to point out. First, the interaction with the audience is incredible. I mean, yes, just that. And it was like one flow going over, and there's many things like why it is, and so we don't have to put it now what it is, and we don't have that in Berlin. I don't know about the other festivals, but we don't have, and this is really, really great. I would love to take it over with me to one learning. Next learning is we take the audience with us. Next learning is what I had the feeling in some of the panels. It's history what is happening. Maybe we will say, where have you been when Ake happened? So, because what you manage in this festival, and this is the big difference for the festival until now, I think, I have the pleasure to be director now, is that it is really a call for action. The panel with the publishing really was so clear, this is the moment things will start. And we just had a talk, Kubi and Mukubi, is that right? Mukuki, I'm sorry. And I think we will have a project together.
And I hope that this book will have the premiere in Berlin in next autumn. And the last thing I want to say, really take with me, is the question of language and translation. And I really find it extremely fascinating that you start or already do, and it's big projects like translating within African languages. But I was also thinking, because we have a long tradition in Berlin to have simultaneously translation, and how great it would be when we have Swahili on stage and translation also at the same time. And I'm really curious, so if you find something out about artificial intelligence with live translation, I really want to participate for the festival. So thank you so much to all of you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And Kholod?
To start with, I have to say it feels like I'm at home. I have two other brothers, and when we made speech as children, my father forced us to make speeches. And they started always, and I was just sitting there listening, and I was thinking, what is left for me to say? But I would like to start by saying that I have the right to not obey, as Hannah Arendt say, and I will talk, of course, about Lola, because I would explain why I run away from Sweden and my duties. Actually, we have work going on, and people are calling and writing to me. But the fact is that I met Lola in Berlin because I was attending your wonderful festival. I do that quite often, and I've been inspired for years and inviting guests and writers from Berlin. And I attended the amazing talk with Nigerian powerful women. And what was important was actually what Lola said, because I also discovered that I think you're the only one living in Nigeria of all the participants. And you mentioned the fact that most of the literature in Nigeria is published in the West. And that's made me quite sad. I was not surprised, and I've been working with publishers. I mean, English is my third language. My first language is Arabic, and Swedish is my second language. And I have for about 12 years been working with make writers of the Middle East visible. I know the work that you are also trying to do, and I know what many of you actually talked about, that some topics are sexy in the West, and this sexiness, it's in our trauma, our tragedy, our violence, our oppression of women. And in Sweden it's quite difficult to find, translation is already very limited. So to translate books from Arabic, for example, it's a hard work. So I've been always trying to contact publishers, asking them, sending them drafts. It's a hard work. But then I decided to actually act myself. So I think Elias said something, I think it was yesterday. I was born in Baghdad and grew up in Syria like 7 years. But I'm in Sweden since '88. So suddenly, when I discovered that I really want to introduce Arabic literature in Sweden, I thought of, okay, I don't know so much about what is going on. I want to go back and ask, what are you doing, right? So I did that, but and I've been working with Arabic writers for many years. But then it is personal. Everything we do is personal. My sister, my lovely sister, is now married to a Gambian wonderful man, and they got a niece. And I just realized that I don't know so much about his history, his literature, and I also want to actually give him the opportunity in Swedish to read about his history, about his literature, because that is also something very important to know. It's not only publishing and introducing African literature for the West. It's also, we have a huge population of Africans living in Europe, in Sweden, that actually do not speak their mother tongue. So we need also to help them, to introduce them to their literature, to their history, so they can be proud of themselves. We have a right-wing governments everywhere. In Sweden, I mean, racism is everywhere, and normalization of racism. So I was fed up with it, to be honest, and I also fed up of my ignorance. I don't know so much. So for me, it was like going directly to Africa, and that Lola gave me this opportunity. I'm so grateful of that, Lola. It's so important. And listening to the conversations, it has been amazing. I've been running out and in because I'm addicted to coffee. So I was like, oh, 5 minutes, oh, okay. And I really wanted to stay and listen to everything. And I wrote some things that I want to share with you that I mean, that is things that you have said, it's not me, that I think about. Daniel Eman, he said, be the change you want to see. I'll think of that. And then how working with like-minded, and I think this is what Lola does, and also my wonderful colleagues. Kina Likimani said, we need to start imagining our history. I think that is really important. And then William Zuma said, if Nigeria takes off, Africa will take off. And for us, I think a very important question, or actually not a question, but something to be aware of. If you say you are reading African literature, be sure you are.
Wow. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. So I'm going to ask you another question now, which I didn't tell you about before, but it's nothing that's not hard. I just want you to think of maybe 2 authors or 2 encounters that you've had that will really stay with you. You've given us this wonderful list, but I'm also curious to know what really resonated with you. You know, I know what resonated with me, but these are my people. I'm with them all the time, but I want to know about you. And the reason I need to know is that this year, my intention from this year, the intention is to really open up Ake Festival. For 10 years, and I guess 11 years, it's been extremely Afrocentric, very focused on African writing, African authors, African thought, which has been very helpful. But in many ways, I think it's now time to start moving to the next level. We love what we've built together, but now we really want to start inviting international writers to come and sit on the stage with a Nigerian or an African writer, maybe with books around the same sort of theme, so that we can also learn. Because it's great for us to know about Africa, but it's also important for us to extend our knowledge and understand where we fit in the world, you know? And I think Ake Festival is a great platform for that. And one of the functions that you fulfilled, because I'm really going to blast this particular panel around, is that a lot of people are afraid to come to Africa. Do you know that? The only reason you're here is because I came to you and basically I really encouraged you to make the journey back. And it was very hard for most of you to refuse me. I made it impossible. but it's so critical for me as an organizer, but also for me as a Nigerian. When I meet people in the West, listen, this year I sent invitations to at least 20 people, non-Africans, and all of them turned me down.
That's crazy.
All of them.
I don't know.
For different reasons. We're busy, it's clashing, it's this, you know, but it happens. And I know that the reason it happens is what they're listening to in the news. what they see, because this is how the West, this is the image that the West projects, that it's not a safe space or a safe country, that we come down from our trees and hit people over the heads with clubs, and they could be in grave danger. Have you felt unsafe at any point? Apart from that big panel discussion. Because I know how even I didn't feel safe in that. But this is also important to me, that people see you here, see that you are fine, and you are in the same condition you were physically as when when you were physically than when you arrived. So a lot of the time when I do these things, there is a bit of an agenda. But I'm really keen to open it up. I want authors from all your countries. I've been talking to Tyrell, so I'm trying to bring Tyrell. She's keen to come. And I spoke to Gunhild as well, but she couldn't. She suddenly got cold feet. So, seeing you here means a lot. But can you just give me 2 conversations or 2 speakers that their words have been imprinted in your belly forever? Or 2 books that you think are really going to change the way you see the world?
Of course, when I want to talk to you about a feeling, I have a feeling very strong. I feel that it's not new, but I feel that Africa has a voice, and now is on the stage. I feel that Europe is decadent, is a bit in descent, and Africa is strong. Africa always saved our world, always, but now is on the stage. This is feeling, and this is the main thing that I learned. And there is a book for me very important in this event, is Africa is Not a Country, because really it's a new vision. It's explained deeply how is the history of Africa and the Europe influence, bad influence, of course. Okay.
Thank you so much.
First of all, because before they were all explaining what they are doing, and we are working just shortly in a diplomatic little institution in the government of Spain. We have the government of the Canary Islands and also the local government in Las Palmas de Gran Canaria, together in a consortium, and we are part of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. We came thanks to Lola first, because she was pushing, and also the embassy of Spain here in Nigeria, so thank you to everyone. And what we do, essentially, we do a lot of things to make people from Africa and Spain closer. It's a very big thing, it's a very big continent, we are small, we don't have so much budget, but we try in many different ways. And when it comes to literature, is bringing Lola, for example, and Hemley Boom also to the last book fair in Las Palmas de Gran Canaria, our city. And we collaborate with different festivals and book fairs in Spain, trying to bring African authors so they can explain their work to the Spanish audience. And we try to publish and facilitate that the African authors are published in Spanish. And we try to figure out how to make the African authors who are known in Spain. Also, we have a book club. We have one person from the book club who came here all the way from Spain. Because, in fact, he felt reassured because you were pushing us and he was coming with us. So we were all together very happy to be in this big party. And coming to your question, if I had to decide, I think I was surprised. I discovered a lot of new authors, but I'm really willing to read Shigidi of Wole Talibi.
Yes.
Because
that was
it was
really
sold
good.
out and I couldn't find the book. And I was talking to him and he sounded so interesting, so mix of everything that I really like to read it. Also the everything. But the last table, because I'm trying to finish a PhD in history, and listening to both of them is so interesting and so necessary. And I know one of the books, Africa is Not the Country, is going to be published in Spanish, but the other one I would like to read it in Spanish too, and be able to read more books like that in Spanish, so more people can read it too.
That's
The panel of African language is very important for us. We start a course, free course in Wall of Language from Senegal, because it's for the proximity, for the very closer to Canary Island and Spain. But this fight for the identity, to save the own identity, and to put all the value that the language has, is very, very important. And we work more on it.
so much. Thank you. What?
You asked many questions, right? About which writers, which books. Well, let me say that there are a few things that I noted. I already said something about the engagement of the audience, and this was particularly clear, for instance, when Miss Bettina Gappa was reading this beautiful short story about Spotlessly Clean. Huh? Yes, I know, but it's sorry. Yes, the memoirs. Excuse me, but this memoir story was everybody was on top of his chair, and was in the end was the whole audience was finishing the sentence. The roof was spotlessly clean, and this is the moment that I think. As an author, you must feel really that people are with you, and for me, I haven't read this memoirs, so this is for me a moment to think this is really something I need to explore more. There was another moment that struck me, and this was actually in every moderator that was here on stage was amazing, really, really so great. And there was one woman who really stood out to me, Miss Kina Likimani, who gave these very articulate rules and these very funny rules for how to not ask questions. And I really enjoyed it a great deal. And these are the kind of things that I, as a festival, will definitely tell to my team, like you should instruct these moderators to be just as clear and just as strict. No, Lola, there's so much to say, because the thing is, at the Read My World Festival in Amsterdam, at a certain point, I think it was during COVID, that I had curators coming from Brussels and Germany and Paris. And at the festival, at a certain moment, there was Gary Young, Suleiman Adonia, Saada Nohusen, and they were at Amsterdam, and this was like, they were all saying to each other, this is the Ake reunion. Because they had met, they did know of each other's work, but they hadn't met each other. And ever since, they're, in this WhatsApp group together, and they're constantly with each other. And they met again at the Read My World Festival, and that's the kind of things that are really, really important. So the network that you're building here is also resonating in that sense. Well, in certain places. Yeah, I will.
Thank you so much. But I have one request. So you've talked about Bettina Gappa's memoirs. Are you going to try to see that, perhaps talk to some publishers to see if they would be interested in translating it into Dutch?
But that's the thing that I'm constantly doing already, like Kholod says, especially, all the people that you introduced to us in Amsterdam, the last festival, I will send publishers extracts of the different available work. That's part of the work that we do. So yes, for sure.
And with Shigidi as well, yeah?
if we can't, because we have a budget that is not very big, we publish one literature book every year, more or less. But we will try to get in contact with other publishing houses in Spanish. So everything, the most that we can, it will be published in Spanish.
Thank you.
For next year, we have a novel that you presented last year. And for the next one, we want translate to Beata. The short stories of Beata.
So Beata's here. You heard it here first. Did you get that? Yeah? Which is so exciting. Thank you so much, because that's what we also want to see. We want more people around the world to read some of these brilliant writers from the African continent. And Teresa?
Yeah, I feel like this will be that we kind of a jury making and I don't feel like announcing a winner. But we've at the festival. Well, I could mention that we have for the upcoming festival, which is only in 2 months. We have somebody that I don't think have been here. Nimo Bassi.
Nimo Bassi.
Yes.
Nimo Bassi has been here twice.
Oh, sorry.
First in 2013. He's one of our most important environmental poets.
Yes, and he will attend the festival now, and he's also on. We have for the upcoming festival. We've had a writing competition for young people between 18 and 25. We have 2 categories: poetry and essays. And Nimo Bassi is on the jury, together with an author from Fiji, another poet from India, and from the US, and from Greenland, outside Denmark. And we are inviting the 2 winners, so who knows, it might be more Nigerians coming. And I know we have lots of entries from Nigeria. And the main reason we have that is that we had a competition 3 years ago as well, also for young people. And then we had 3 people that we interviewed. We had 1 winner. She was based in Norway but Polish. And then we had 2 runners-up, and there was 1 young Nigerian man and another one from Kenya. And I've been keeping in touch with them, and now I've met him. Adeboye is his name, and he was here the opening day, and it was so wonderful. and that's also an important part of our festival, is to encourage new writing and young people to both believe in their ability to create art, that it's important to create art, that it's both on it can mean a lot on a personal level and also on a societal level. So that's what we also work on all the time. What I was going to say, why I know there's so many entries from Nigeria, it's because Adeboye has done a great job in promoting this competition. And he said, well, some of my friends might be even better than me, so who knows. But we've had, for the festival that I represent, the Bergen International Literary Festival, we have, when I started the festival, what I said was, where there is a gap in the Norwegian literary scene, and that is on international literature. We have lots of good festivals in the country, but they are mainly only in Norwegian. So I said that, well, this festival will be half and half Norwegian international, and international, by then I mean international, meaning that every year I will have authors from all continents. And the goal is also to create meeting points, to cross genre barriers, to cross cultural barriers, language, etc., etc. So I've had Nigerian authors pretty much every year, because there is so many great authors from Nigeria especially, and also from South Africa, Kenya, and the bigger countries have produced a lot. Unfortunately, I don't read French or Spanish well enough to do so. Anyway, now I'm talking. Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much, Teresa. And Lavinia?
Well, I should name all the authors, but I do name some. So this is really difficult. But I was also, from the book talk with Bettina, very touched. And also from the talk, Emma, thank you so much for introducing us. We had later on in the evening. The same with Beata. There the content, the story was extremely moving, but also the fact of Francophone and Anglophone authors. And this is something, I think you are international. You are international. Ake is international. They're coming from everywhere. They're coming from everywhere. They came from the States, from France, from I don't know where, everywhere. And this was so fascinating. And but I understand your point of being in another kind of international. But one thing I also heard very strong, and where as a white person, of course, I'm just glad to be here and be able to listen to it, that DK said it also, that it's first time he has this kind of communities, this kind of feeling coming home. And this really touched me enormously. And one thing I really felt home was the women power in this room. And I love you. And all this, every day I was looking, so how are they dressed today? And I started feeling, oh, I have to make more out of myself to be like together with you when I'm here. So thank you so much, all to these brilliant women in this room.
Nigerian and of course African women, when it comes to dressing, they can be very intimidating, I have to say, because, you know, a lot goes into it and they always come out just looking amazingly turned out. I can't keep up. That's why I keep it simple, you know? But thank you so much for that. I'm thanking you on behalf of all the babes here. Because you showed up and you showed out. Kholod.
Yeah, once again, what is left? Okay, well, I can mention the fact that since we are organizers, so I've been thinking of how you put the talks together, the themes. So I was actually looking at that. I was really interested in that. And that is, you've done a wonderful job, Lola, really. And I'm also very happy that you invited publishers to also give us their point of view. That is very important. And as a moderator, because I also work as a moderator, as you mentioned, I am really impressed by all the moderators. And I've never had such fun with like really serious themes and topics. We are very boring in Sweden. We are so serious. So this like very intelligent humor with at the same time substance, I really admire that. And also, you also mentioned this interaction with the audience. It's amazing. And yes, I wish to take you with me to Sweden. That would be wonderful. And then, of course, as always, because we are humans and we have always our own experiences, we relate to different writers, different subjects. For me, since I worked with Scholastic Mukasunga, and I also had an interview with her in Sweden. It's a writer from Rwanda. She writes in French, of course. I had her perspective. So when I heard Beata, I was very touched by how she addressed the subject, because there's differences also between the experience of Scholastic Mukasunga and the experience of Beata. And I'm really happy to hear Beata told me that she will be published in Swedish in February, so I will call her publisher directly when I arrive. And then when it comes to books, it's not my choice. My sister ordered me to buy Africa Is Not a Country. So I did. Thank you.
You did?
Yes, I did.
That's incredible. I mean, it's just so nice to hear all these wonderful things. So the last thing I'm going to ask you is, what is there one place in Lagos that you would like to visit tomorrow? Because I know many of you are leaving in the evening, and we're trying to plan a little trip, you know. And you know they've been cooped up in Ikeja for the last 3 days, and I was just thinking it would be really good to go somewhere. Where would you like to go? What have you heard? You know, don't say nightclubs because they'll be empty during the day. So what thoughts do you have? Should we start with you? So you don't say there's nothing else.
Actually, I just want to walk on the streets of Lagos. That would be really nice. Just take a,
There are many streets here you can walk on.
Yeah, I would be very happy to do that.
Okay.
We can start from here.
All right. We can even go and walk tonight. But you know what? That I get that. I get that. You know, I can understand how that is. I've been in places where, I mean, you think that the fear and the trepidation and the worries, it can really go both ways. And even for me, when I go to countries in the West, sometimes I'm nervous as well about I want to walk, but I'm scared because I'm worried that I'm probably going to be one of the few black people. There are people staring at me. There are people suspicious of me. You walk into a shop, they start following you around. You know, all those things can just make you say, look, let me just sit in my hotel room. But so sometimes those things.
And Lola, I am not a scared person. I'm not at all scared. I've been traveling, you know, in the Middle East, everywhere, in the middle of the night. But I want to get out.
I understand.
That's what I mean. Yeah.
Okay, so it's not fear. It's not because you're scared.
Just the ability to get out.
It's just the ability.
Yes, exactly.
We've locked you down with the panel discussions and book chats.
Of course. So,
but we will release you tonight.
Thank you. With palm wine.
Yes, with palm wine.
Good.
That's right. You got it. What about you, Lavinia? Was there anywhere you'd like to go?
Oh, I'd love to see some art, I really must say, if possible on Sunday. And
is Nikkei Gallery open on Sundays?
Oh, great. Yeah.
Huh? There's one in GRA. Okay, but maybe we should allow them to cross Third Mainland Bridge. Huh? So that we move a little bit towards the island. Because we're on the mainland, so I think it would be nice for you to see where those horrible people with money live. Teresa?
Yeah, I'll go with the art as well. Okay. Yeah, but I forgot to correct you. You didn't have to push me to come.
This is true.
I'm not.
This is true.
But what I will do next time is to make sure that I take some the Norwegian authors that you want to have here. Next time I'll make sure that they come. But then you have to invite me again.
Yes.
I
see where you're going there.
Because I want to come every year.
No, we will talk. We have our ways. Is there anything, by the way, that you ate that you really liked? I'm also just curious. Did you eat anything that was really nice that you want to have again? Huh? Sorry? Oh, the jumbo prawns. Were they good? Were they bigger than the ones in Spain? No. But they were delicious. Did you taste the pepper, the chili? Did you like that? That's brilliant. Good. Good. That's ikokomi, by the way. Ikokomi is cooked for our guests the entire time. Thank you so much. We had him last year. He was so good. People talked about the food so much that we had no choice but to bring him again this year, you know. And you'll be with us again next year. Thank you. So, Teresa, anything you liked eating?
I liked the food in general so much. I really loved it.
Wow.
This morning I skipped breakfast so I could be more hungry for lunch. But can we ask the audience what they would like us, what they think we should see tomorrow?
Okay, so once I've got your ideas, then we can also do it. They can suggest. And since we are all dead from all the work we've done, you can also take them. When you suggest, you follow up with the work. Where would you like to go?
We want to visit the Fela house. The Fela
Okay, the shrine,
Fela Museum.
Sunday. Are you leaving tomorrow? I can't remember. Is it tomorrow night? So you can see it, but we have our ways. So we can get in, but the problem is nothing will be happening. But the museum is there. Would you like to see the Fela Museum? Okay, good idea. What about you, Willemijn? Anywhere in particular?
I have really nothing to add. Everything has been said already.
You just like their ideas. You run
I like
with
all
it.
the ideas.
What about the food? All the food?
I really, really, really like the fish.
The fish?
Yeah, it was really, really, really good.
Thank you
I
so
could
much.
feel the fish, yes.
Thank you. So I'm going to open it up now. And does anybody we have 10 minutes. Does anybody have any questions that they would like to ask them? Elias?
First, thank you, Lola, for this incredible job that you've done, and also for bringing our friends from the West. One thing that I wanted to say is that those of us who work from the West, we have partners and friends who work with us and help us, and also we were able to see so many books from Africa published in the West because we have fantastic editors who are committed to African literature. We don't talk about it enough, and I want to make sure that people here knows that. We tend to talk about the negative things that we're trying to overcome, but I don't want us to forget that there are good people like this panelist here, and also good editors and good publishers who are trying to do best for us and with us. So it's our common humanity will win. But we have to overcome so many things. So we're not, when we bash the West, we're not bashing those of you who are in our side with us fighting that battle. So I want to take this opportunity to say thank you to all of you here and to those who are watching from the distance. And we do not forget, and we're not forgetting. We are actually paying attention who is working with us or against us, and so that we overcome the greater battle of our humanity together. So thank you again, all of you.
Thank you so much, Elias, and it's true. It's hard to explain how it feels for me because I feel like you're my guest, but I really appreciate each and every one of you. I really do. I'm so happy you're here, and I know what you all do because I've had different conversations with you all, and it means a lot to me, and I'm really happy that it means something to some of the people who are here in this audience as well. So thank you. Wendy.
Good evening. First of all, let me say I am so encouraged to see so much girl power on stage, you know. And as somebody who is getting started in organizing a fair in Nairobi, I feel already qualified, I think my gender already qualifies me, right? So I feel very encouraged. But I think my question is, because we just put together an inaugural fair in Nairobi this year, and while it's a really good thing to attend and come to a fair or a festival, it's often those places where you feel energized and your imagination is sparked. I know from being on the grind that it's often a lot of work. It's a logistical nightmare. It's a lot of moving pieces, and everything must fall in place at the same time. So I guess my question to any of you really qualified organizers is what keeps you going, year in, year out? How do you keep that fire?
What keeps you going, Teresa?
Passion. Yeah, passion. I mean, that's if you don't have that, then you don't do this work, because it's not something that will make you rich, rather the opposite, and it's not really something that is really valued in society at large. But the personal experience of seeing people getting together to be part of the work towards, it's really quite basic. My goal is to create a better world, and that's what we do. That's like the essence of the work. I want it to be a better place, and now more than ever, we need that. We need these spaces. So if you don't really, if this is not really your main thing in life, then don't do it, because it is a nightmare. And you work, it's not a 100% job, it's 200%. So I mean, burnout is clearly a possibility that many of us know what it is about. So just be careful that you don't work yourself to sickness.
And have a great team. I think I totally agree with you're saying. I'm also in it for that I really believe that I think I can change things. Fortunately, times are changing, and I feel that I can move things around much more than 10 years ago. But what you need is people who believe in you, and that might sound like a cliche, but if you have a vision that is not really considered mainstream, it's very important that you feel supported by your peers, by your, in my case, my team members, my friends, my community. So that's what I wish for you, that I think it's extremely important that you get that kind of backup of people who support you on all levels. So yeah, do it. It's the most amazing thing ever. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, many things actually, but first of all, I think you've heard of when people say, choose something you love to work with, and you won't feel that you will be working ever in your life. So I do choose what I love, because this is the place, literature is a home for me. I mean, having different cultures and different languages make you feel rootless. So it's actually how I feel home. So that is one thing. The second thing, it's due to my background and my parents that fought for democracy in Iraq, and they had to flee. They sacrificed everything, so I feel a commitment. I feel a duty that I have to continue, and I do it in my way. It's the literature. And then also the fact that I'm very privileged as a Swedish with immigrant roots, and I managed to be part of the establishment, and I'm very alone actually. We're very few. So I feel that I have to work for the others, because I can be a bridge. Actually, I have both, and I have to use it, and it's such a richness. And also because the West, or in my case Sweden, is missing such a wonderful stories, experiences. So it's a question of richness, and I don't at all see it as work. And it's also another thing, to feel powerless, it's the worst thing ever. So by doing things, I can avoid that feeling, even though it's hard work, but I know at least I am doing something. So therefore I continue, and of course it's so important to have to work with others, and I mean, I know Willemijn since earlier, and now I know you, and it makes it easy for me to continue. Yeah.
Well, personally, I always think when the things happen as you have it here now, the 3 days, or as we had when you were in Berlin, it gives so much reward to make these things possible. And all what the colleagues said is absolutely right.
Thank you so much. So we've got 1 minute 44 seconds left. Does anybody have anything they want to say? Oh yes, let's go.
Because I forgot before, we have a prize of a say in 4 languages: French, Portuguese, English, Spanish. We have a prize of microrelato, novels. I don't know the name in English. Very short
stories.
Also in 4 languages.
Flash fiction.
Flash fiction.
Flash fiction.
We have a contest of photography. We always have problems to get African people involved. So please, we don't want to. We want to give praises to Spanish people, yes, but it would be nicer to have African people getting those prizes. So please come to us, give us projects, give us input, and about what they were saying. I think we are okay with all of that. We are yes. But also, this place is just one of the many places that we are so lucky to visit and to know. And you are the people, I think, who are giving us the strength and the passion, apart that we love what we do. We thank you because it's thanks to you that we get the strength to keep on working. So thank you, and congratulations for this.
So you have done well. You have clapped very dutifully, my people. And so many of you have said that you'd like to take the Ake Festival audience to your countries. Unfortunately, it's the one thing I can't give you. Because I need them, and because they're amazing, and because they do so much to make Ake everything that it is. So I want to say a big thank you to all of you for making our guests feel welcome. But I want to thank every one of you again for coming, for making the trip, for enriching my life and my experience, for allowing yourselves to be a pawn in my agenda. For being brave, for being courageous. None of that surprises me because you're all women, to be honest with you. You know, it's... I totally, it just doesn't surprise me because you also understand this work. And when we have all those conversations about how tough it gets, but we also encourage one another. We're in touch on WhatsApp a lot. So thank you so much, and see you soon.
See you very soon.
See you soon.